Dungeons, Drive-Ins, and Dice is an actual play TTRPG podcast exploring a vast universe of our own design. With the infinite expanse of adventures awaiting us comes a litany of possible dirty, dark, or deranged scenes and topics. Content warnings can be found in the episode descriptions.
And in the last episode, I guess, what happened? You guys worked together with Cola to push your way into the engine. Most of it was pretty conversational between you and Creation.
Yeah, he was able to talk us out of killing him that episode.
Talked you out of killing him. You guys have had access to the button, seemingly would still have access to the button to do just that. But you do know that timeline is going down. Like, he is currently doing work to fix that problem, which was
why we have to have a town meeting.
Yeah, his whole goal was to do that, fix that problem. But until it is fixed, it is still a problem for him. So that button or lever really could be pulled at any moment. When pulled, you know that it will turn on the warp engine and the ship will warp, so you got to be prepared for that as well. But he is in the process of fixing that to where that can just be pulled without him dying, because his roots are kind of ingrained into that at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess currently we don't 100% know that would kill him.
Right. I just wanted to...
But it does kind of seem that way.
You know, leave it... Yeah, I guess that is totally fair. That is the going theory anyway. At the end of that conversation, Marjorie appeared in the room just to sort of solidify her standing in that she didn't want the community to freak out. She felt that she was making the right decision for everyone and that the masses, I guess... I don't know if she said anything along these lines. I guess she just felt that she was making the right decision for everybody and keeping it from them and just jumping them out of the hold of the Back Atmos star system. But you guys have sort of left that situation. We can sort of pick it up, I think, with you folks all having returned to your various living quarters. It is the following day when you all receive... It's pretty early in the morning. You all receive a summons for an officers' meeting is definitely what it's called. And that's it. It's just like a little sheet of paper slipped under your door. It says officers' meeting in 1 hour. Slipped under the door of, like, the front door of Slippy, BBW, and Carl's apartment, as well as Hyatt Cola's apartment. And you know that in about an hour, there's going to be an officers meeting. Is there anything anyone wants to do before attending this officers meeting?
I'm going to prepare a mini birthday cake.
For whom?
The officers.
Everyone. Okay, cool. Perfect.
It's going to be made of metal, though, because I can't cook. BBW can't cook. He's only a toaster.
So
Have you always
bring cakes?
Have you always procured birthday cakes, like, from elsewhere?
Yet there was a cookie to make him cakes.
There wasn't a reason.
Damn, I never really thought about BBW not being able or not being able to make his own cakes. Sick.
He's been able to.
Doesn't BBW have money? You could go and buy it. Do you not know about that you can buy cakes?
Good point.
I just want to know about BBW lore.
He's got to know he can buy cakes if he knows that he can't make them.
Maybe he doesn't know that's why he makes them out of metal.
Have
he knows
all
you can buy
of,
other things.
Have all of his parties been like? Does he provide the cake at most of the parties he services?
He provides a service. He doesn't provide the cake.
Okay, I guess that's just
This makes more
included
sense then.
in a package in my mind, but not necessarily in the BBW package. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
The package includes a BBW and a cake.
Not necessarily
all
that
you need.
BBW made the cake. That's very fair. Okay.
The cake's not included.
It doesn't say cake made by BBW.
Yeah, okay. I just hadn't read the fine print. That's on me.
Cake may or may not be made by BBW. Cake may or may not be metal.
A bunch of notes I should have read before eating. Does
Oh, no.
anyone else have anything to prepare or do before going to this meeting?
I think Slippy is just gonna load his gun. Is it big gun?
Oh, the
Super
big gun. Interesting.
What kind of meeting we having? Jesus.
I'm not gonna bring a little gun to an officers meeting.
Compensating?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm scared. This is big gun.
Why do you think I bought this big gun? I bought this big gun as soon as my life fell apart.
Does Cola have anything to prepare before this meeting?
No. Cola's at the canteen.
Has he been at the canteen since last night?
Basically, yes.
Cola has all that he needs, which is alcohol.
Okay, then I guess at some point for you, probably like 30 minutes after this, Cluster walks up to you, Jorgensen. He sits next to you at the bar. He slides the note over
Cola's
to you.
passed out.
He knocks on the bar for the bartender, whom comes over and pours him a drink, some amber liquid, and he shakes Cola awake.
And he pours it onto Cola.
Sir, I got there's a note dropped off for you.
What? Huh? Ah, Buster.
Yes, boss. Did you have a rough night?
Buster, I think we've been working for the bad guys.
Okay, that's a lot to process first thing in the morning, boss. He takes a sip from his drink.
Morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's pretty early. He looks down at his clock. It looks like there's an officers meeting this morning, boss, and they want you to attend.
Oh, well, then barkeep.
It's in about 30 minutes, boss.
Barkeep.
The barkeep strolls on over to you. A tall, green, lanky creature. Its limbs fold at 90-degree angles on the floor as they drag behind it. What can I get for you? Can you pay your tab from last night?
Yes, and I also need a cup of extra strength stim beverage to go.
All right. And Cluster actually puts a credit chunk down on the counter. He says, "This should be able to cover it. We gotta get moving. Can we get that to go? 'Cause I could get it going as quick as possible." And within a few minutes, he brings back a smaller cup of it's in styrofoam. This dark brown beverage, hot and steaming. And he says, "All right, boss, we gotta drink it." Perfect. It's fucking hot. It's really hot. It burns your throat like.
Do I take damage? No, I don't. I have 3 armor.
Well, this is inside your body. Give me a defy danger constitution. Since you approached if you took damage or not.
Quick have a look. All right. That's my constitution. 11.
Totally fine. It hurts. It's hot, but you do that sort of breath afterwards to cool down your throat.
Stim beverage.
And
right,
yeah, I mean, you're zapped awake, and Cola is moving quick. He's like, "All right, boss, well, normally before these meetings, I like to give you all sorts of information about what they're going to be about, but there wasn't an officers meeting scheduled, so I can't find anything in the system about what this is going to be about, nor do I know why you're invited."
It's all right, Buster. I know.
Oh, okay. Care to share, boss man?
All right. I mean, if working for the bad guys was a lot to process, this might be quite something for you. But there's a flesh monster living in the base of this station, and maybe it's friendly. We're having a meeting to decide what to do about it, I think, and also whether or not to leave the Federation. It's a pretty heady meeting, it seems like.
And you two are at the door to the bridge and command center. As it slides open, Cluster's mouth is left half agape as there are BBW, Slippy, Carl. Have you three made your way here yet? Are you three rolling in? Did you roll in a little early? Did you roll in on time? Did you roll in a little late? What's your process? Just so I know what to describe when Hyatt Cola's rolling in at this
Slippy
time.
went in early. Slippy went in probably shortly as soon as he saw the note, and he is seated in a chair facing away from the door. And he makes no motion to look at Hyatt Cole whenever he comes in.
Arl is also there, but he's camouflaged in the corner.
BBW is not trying to hide, but he's just on the ceiling.
Perfect. So yeah, Cola, as you walk in, as this door opens, and like I said, Cluster's mouth is left.
Cola's dragging Cluster with him. Cluster's coming to this meeting now.
Slightly ajar. Marjorie stands up as you enter. All of the officers are here, and Marjorie says, I think that this conversation is best left to those in I don't know, higher positions, and she's sort of eyeing Cluster.
Slippy slams his hand on the table and he stands up and he says, "That's why we're in this mess. We need to decide if he can know or not. So I say he stays and he can know."
So you have Shaq, you have Bear. There is a
You have Slippy.
screen. You have Slippy, Carl, and BBW, of course. There is a screen up on the hanging down from the ceiling where you can see an amalgam of various lights and stuff that all of you folks recognize as core at this point. Dr. Porpoise, his assistant, is here. Old Lady Weathers is here as well. Lots of officers, maybe some we haven't named, I'm sure. She says, guess that's fair. I guess your assistant can join us too. There's an extra chair, of course. She says, if everyone wouldn't mind being seated, I'd like to get this underway. And all of the officers take their seats. BBW, do you remain on the ceiling?
Yes.
Carl, do you remain camouflaged?
Yep.
Okay.
And Slippy remains standing.
Okay. There are 2 seats on one side of the table for Cola and Cluster.
Cola pulls out a chair for Cluster to sit, and then stands directly behind Cluster's chair. It prevents me from banging my fist on the table.
Just bang the fist on Cluster.
Okay. I guess that can be fine, Marjorie says. She stands too in her chair and paces a little back and forth. Rake is also there. He looks a little grumpy. He's in a chair next to hers. His body language is like facing away from her. He looks pretty upset. And she says, I have been holding something from most of you. We have been facing a situation that I thought that I had my hands in control of. And recently, I would say it's been pointed out to me that maybe my interests are not necessarily the interest of everyone aboard our station. And therefore, I would like to approach with you folks about the best course of action. Bear gruffly grunts and Shaq says, out with it, Marjorie. Please, I have stuff to do today.
Yeah, Marjorie, tell him about the flesh monster. Tell
Yes.
him every gory detail.
Okay, very forward. Good place to start. Okay,
Slippy sits down.
maybe not the best place to start, but we'll get there for sure. As all of you are aware, there was a large explosion on the station nearly a decade ago, taking out access to our warp engine, and the officers are all nodding and like giving grunts of protest to this situation. Yeah, we should have been able to expand our expansion, blah, blah, blah. And she says, yes, during the past, I guess 10 years or so, while this has been a problem that we have been facing, there has been a new inhabitant aboard our station, mostly due to the explosion, whom has shown me a number of things about our
Don't say shown me, it sounds culty.
Okay. Yeah, who has revealed to me a number of things about our gracious rulers. And hard to parse all of this in one sort of go through, but
All a revolution.
I have been working with this individual to separate us from the home offices of the back Atmos star system, she whispers. And Rake says, why don't you let them know exactly what you've hidden from them? And he seems just pretty enraged. She says, I understand that you're upset, my friend. And he scoffs at this, and she says, I never meant to hide anything from any of you particularly.
Slippy scoffs.
Sure, well deserved. I just wasn't 100% sure who I could trust aboard this ship. But last night, these 3 brave specialists and Agent Cola broke down the walls of my secrecy quite a bit more, and I find myself unable to progress down this.
Continue lying,
Continue lying, sure. path that I have started,
Spade a spade.
that I have spaded. um, and Bear stands up and he says, just tell us what this is all about, Marjorie.
Yeah, tell them about the flesh
Captain
monster.
Marjorie,
Yes?
if I may present a less biased version of events.
Sure.
Let the man speak.
Okay. If you want to put it that way.
As long as he keeps his pants on, he could speak.
He's promised nothing.
Sure.
A research experiment on this station went wrong. An unknown life form was combined with a unfortunate scientist who created a wholly new organism. This organism, deeming itself creation, has lived aboard our station, entwining its roots within the station since then. This organism has its own goals and its own motives, namely to free itself from the confines of the back Atmos star system, whom it deems to be oppressive and xenophobic. This organism contacted and recruited Captain Marjorie to its cause, and the two of them worked together to keep creation a secret from all of us to its goals, to acquire the technology necessary to vacate this system, enabling our hyperdrive, and leave this system for parts unknown. However, this organism has a weakness. The very hyperdrive that it wishes to activate to escape the back Atmos would also be its demise without proper technological advances. Advances which it is, in fact, as of this exact moment, attempting to enact.
Marjorie looks at the table. The table is silently facing towards Marjorie. She says, okay, that was admittedly less bias than my approach. Shaq says, is this true? She says, it is. Sure, creation is trying to free itself from the confines of the back Atmos, but it has proven to me that we all should be trying to free ourselves as well. It has shown me so many horrible things that the back Atmos star system has commanded or had their hands in, that I didn't feel safe having our community run by this group any longer, and we are uniquely in a position to separate ourselves from these oppressive confines of the back Atmos star system. Sure, it has a weakness, but it revealed to me so much, so many secrets that I did not take action upon this weakness. If I recall correctly, the four of you had opportunity to take just the same action last night. Why did you not?
We didn't take it into our own hands, Marjorie. We are a part of a community. A community, it is in 53% of a spaceship. And by golly, I think all 53% should have a chance to decide their fates. We can tell them all this information quickly, I guess, and we could make a communal effort, and we could all have a vote to decide what we should do about the flesh monster as a community rather than just one of us deciding a thing, which in this situation I think is and then Slippy sits back down.
Given this precarious state of events, I see two paths forward for all of you. Either we vote together as a collective to decide our new fate given these circumstances, or I believe a change in leadership is necessary. If we can, among this table, find someone more suitable, more trustworthy to be our captain, then perhaps we may leave it up to them to make that choice. As an outsider, I will absent myself from any voting and acquiesce to whatever the decision is. But given an outsider's perspective, these are the choices that I see.
You have, well, some of you, most of you have all trusted me at some point, in order for myself to find myself where I am. I made these decisions as what as I thought were a part of my station, to do what is best for those living aboard the Delta Dawn. If the decisions I made were not the best for everyone, then I am willing to step down. But what I thought that it would be the best decision for everybody. We have people here that still contact the back Atmos star system galactic orbiter. We have people that are eyes on the inside. This is something we have to be very careful just telling the station about. If they're aware that we are attempting to escape, they will bring a hell down upon us that we have yet to see, even just missing 60% of our station for so long. You showed up here, Cola. Yeah, I did not report this, and all of the officers are nodding their head. None of my officers have reported anything to you, and yet reports still made their way back to you. This would not be much different. One quick announcement to the station, sure, we might be able to get those who are on board, but what do we do with those who are not on board? Do we just vacate them into space? What do we do once they know we are doing this? Once they know this is in our plan, if this is the route we choose to take as a community, what's to stop them from coming to stop us? I'll grant to you that not everyone aboard this station is averse to the back Atmos star system, but those that aren't could very well ruin it for those that are, and I find myself nervous as to the consequences imposed by the back Atmos star system if it gets back to them.
Do you think we need creation to successfully vacate?
Do you have any valid reason to remove creation from the equation? Seems to only really offer actually positives. We don't, and hasn't given us any reason not to trust him. So unless given a reason to not have creation, I think that's more important than having a reason to need him from a
Holy shit, the wall's
non-capitalistic
talking.
approach.
Holy shit, the wall is talking.
I've been talking the whole time. How are you this
The wall
blind?
is
wall.
spitting facts.
You just thought that this gun was sitting on the floor next to me?
Bear stands up, he puts his hand down on the
Paul,
table.
I'm only 30% sober.
He says, "Everyone must know. I will not tell them, but you should." And he looks directly at Marjorie. He says, "This is your job." And he turns and
Who said
he
this?
Bear, the combat expert of the whole station, sort of the combat trainer. He stands up, he says that, and he turns and he stomps towards the door.
Ola gets
What
in
if we
his
just
way.
open it up like a museum?
"What, Officer Hyatt Cola?" And he looks down his nose at you. He is imposing even to you, a large man.
Never mind.
I believe, Officer Bear, that the decision lies with all of us. Yes, the responsibility for Marjorie's failings lie with the captain, but we, the officers, may have the power to replace the captain. Our citizens trust us. We must act in a way that is worthy of their trust.
Okay,
He
new
grunts
idea.
and returns to his seat.
Why don't we have a quick election to see if the community trusts Captain Marjorie?
I nominate. Oh,
Ow.
Roasted.
Ouchie.
Friends.
Yeah. You sure? Okay, and if they say they trust me, does that mean I pulled the trigger on this on my own? Like this seems to be how we've gotten to this point. That's why you four have opened my eyes, at least last night, that I should be more trusting. I know for a fact that I cannot trust every member aboard this station. Hyatt Cola's presence here is fact of that. It's proof of that fact. But
I mean,
I do trust my officers. You guys were totally right. I should try to hold trust in those that I put in positions, and I do trust you folks. If we think an election for captain is what is needed, then we can go through that again, but I've made it my way up here because I am trusted by my community.
Is that what happened the first time? Were you elected?
No, not elected, but I did work my way up. I earned the respect of many aboard the ship, and a lot of the officers are nodding. And Rake says, "Yes, you did once, but you hadn't lied that first time." I don't know, Marjorie. I threw my full trust behind you. I believed everything that you told us. I full-throatedly backed you, and
Ugh.
last night I was shown that you're even able to hide things from me, and I don't know. It's gonna be it's hard. It's hard to bring myself around to that you're doing it just for our benefit.
Yeah, I guess you guys are right. Doing a full town election doesn't really make sense. But it does kind of sound like one way or another we're going to have to deal with the dissenters, so to speak, assuming we do choose to put our put our plan into action to leave the star system.
My plan A was to put them on a ship and send them off towards somewhere they'd be safe, of course. Plan
The
B,
sun.
I can fire as many bullets as I can hold. So, like,
Whoa. Hey, whoa. Wow.
I'm just saying if worse comes to worse.
Sure, if worse comes to worse, we maybe could fight over it, but as dissenters, wouldn't they be better off still out of the grip? Even if they did not agree with my decisions, our decisions, if it's not up to me, would they still not be better off out of the grip of this group? Would we not be protecting them even if they disliked it?
Yeah, I guess
There
that's
is no
true.
decision.
Who gets to
that we
dictate
can-
who gets that authority, though?
The cat. I only ask because I feel as if I'm put in a position to dictate just such a thing.
Let's all go visit creation. Let's everybody come on, stand up. Come on, officers. Come on, stand up. Slippy's standing up and he's like raising his hands up to everybody. He's motioning his hands. Come on, everybody.
Are you interested
on.
in bringing creation in on this conversation?
I think
We're
creation
not
would have an
quite
interesting way to
done.
end a conversation.
I mean, I know how I feel about creation. I know how Marjorie feels about creation. Let's just all figure out how we feel about creation, and then we can come back and decide to hyperdrive, and then or not
puts his hand
hyperdrive.
on Slippy's shoulder and like pushes him back down into his chair.
Slippy sits back down.
There is
Well-
no course of action that will please all of the population on this ship. They have been indoctrinated in the back Atmos culture for too long for us to have unanimous consent with any decision that we make. I believe that an election among the officers will lead to the swiftest result. What we do about those who dissent is a decision I'm comfortable leaving to the new captain, whether that is Marjorie or somebody else. If we want to bring creation into this conversation, I suggest that we do it once we, the officers, have established some sort of unified front.
Are you an officer now, Cola?
No, I'm an agent.
Just checking. You've been saying "we" a lot.
I have. It is a slip of the tongue, but it does make saying the phrases easier.
No, I understand. I definitely get it.
I have no intention of actually voting in this we. It's sort of a royal we that doesn't include me.
I think you could have a vote.
Bear actually looks over at Cola and he says, "Yes. Why is this agent here with us?" And he sort of is scowling a bit.
I, Officer Bear, am the one who uncovered this entire conspiracy to begin with.
Marjorie says, "And the rest of them as well. This is less of a direct officers meeting and more of a meeting of the minds and those aware of the situation. Let's use these four as sort of our reaction from the populace, right? They discovered just last night most of this situation, have been thrust into much of this information in the past." She looks over at the four of you and says 24 to 48 hours, I believe.
Yes. It all started when I bought this gun.
Okay, and how do the four of you respond? Your direct response to this? If we were to have just today teleported the ship into a new location, what would be your direct response when told of this information?
Would you also tell me that we did it to kill a giant flesh monster?
None of this is in order to kill creation. I'll be very clear. He has proven himself extremely useful, and none of the plans in which I have made or would like to make involve getting rid of this creature.
Slippy's eyes
I'm with her on
narrow.
that one. Skin room's pretty cool.
Slippy's eyes narrow at you over there.
The wall. Chick.
I have just as
Slippy's-
many bullets for you, buddy.
Slippy says, fair enough.
What about you, robot? How does this sit with you?
That looks like dissent, Slippy.
No, I would never descent hard enough to require 20 bullets inside of me. Never. I'm playing devil's advocate, and I know it's a bad habit that I should stop.
Maybe they're gonna lower himself gently onto the table that they're all sitting around, and
Fuck,
he's
you're
gonna.
here?
He looks around like, who?
I thought I was
Wall?
sneaky.
No, I'm Slippy.
Huh. Swear I just heard a voice. Oh well, I'm gonna offer this birthday cake to you, Marjorie, Captain, and I offer the little metal birthday cake that I made to her.
She accepts it. I appreciate this. Does this mean that you back
What does this mean?
my plans to sort of take this into my own hands? What does this mean from you?
It means you're 1 year older.
Creation seems to be another lonely creature out in this world. Well, this is not quite a world, this ship, but I think we should give them a chance. We should
Did you
go
call
see what-
Marjorie a lonely creature?
No creation.
No creation.
You said another lonely creature.
We're all lonely creatures.
I think
Not
that
me.
If there's something that creation may want, it may be to be discovered, if anything, to stop hiding.
I think that is a very fine point. Just because it finds itself in a position of control does not mean that it is inherently evil. How can we really know? Sure, until it takes an evil action, but up until now, it has done nothing but show me what I believe is the truth.
All we need to give to it is maybe some trust, and I think some cake. I wasn't
Once it
giving-
starts asking for people to eat, we can worry about it. But until then, like, it's just chilling.
There's that voice again.
And Rake says, so then who are we going to trust to make this decision? I'm not sure we can trust Marjorie anymore. And Shaq says, well, unless you want to be the one in charge, I don't think that I do. Bear nods in agreement with this statement.
Buster, what do you think of all this? You've kept your ear to the ground these past 2 days. You have sort of a vibe on the populace.
You want to be in charge, Cluster?
I don't, boss. That's a big one. All the officers are now looking at Cluster, and he's starting to stammer a little bit. He's like, well, it seems like the people of this station are pretty content with life in general. I would say there's lots of folks here that definitely support the Back Atmos star system, but who's to know if that's because they find themselves within its grasp right now? Outside of this room, you'd be hard pressed to find any of these officers caught dead in a conversation like this, but behind closed doors, who's to know, boss? Everyone seems to be sort of open in this specific context. It's kind of hard. I think that there would, of course, be some dissenters, but as Marjorie pointed out, if it's so much worse here, like she says, and this is not information I know, but if it's so much worse here, like she says, maybe we might be happier, even those of us that are disappointed in this, without having them sort of over our shoulders.
Thank you, Buster.
Of course, boss.
I personally nominate Officer Rake to be our new captain.
What?
Do we have any seconds? Does anyone second that?
Do any of you second that?
Nobody's gonna second that, Slippy continues to say.
Rake stands up
Rake?
and he says, I don't know that I'm in any position to be in charge of a ship like this. I have,
You are selling yourself short, Officer Rake.
Tell
In my
yourself taller.
experience, which I will say is short-lived here on this station, you have proven yourself to be trustworthy, loyal, and diligent in all of your work.
Also a little bit too
People around you
trusting.
trust you, and people call you captain already. It lessens the confusion.
That's true, but that's just a nickname. Everyone still be a little confused. Captain Marjorie's the captain round here.
A little, they're going to be a little confused one way or another.
She wouldn't be called Captain Marjorie anymore. She would just be Marjorie.
Good old Marge.
Large Marge.
Bear stands and says, Marjorie can't be in control anymore. I vote Teddy Rake. And Shaq says, if Bear trusts you, I trust you. I can get behind Rake.
If Shaq trusts you, I trust you. So I'm with that.
What do
Say you BBW.
What do Old Lady Weathers and the AI think? They haven't spoken yet.
That's a good point. They haven't spoken. There's just a shitload of characters.
Yeah, who do you vote for? Old Lady Weathers and AI?
The AI says, I believe that Captain Marjorie's approach has been very pragmatic. Much of the station may not agree, but most of them would be better off without the back Atmos star system. And the ones that may cause dissent, we can deal with rather easily. Old Lady Weathers actually says, I have attempted to distance myself from the back Atmos star system for much of my life, and some of that has not gone so well. The only thing I require assurance of is that if we pull the trigger on this, that we will certainly be out of their grips, because when we try something like this, it will be far worse if they catch us than anything that I've been a part of in the past.
And who do you vote for, BBW?
I vote for you, Slippy.
I also vote for B. All right, it sounds like you're Captain Rake. You won.
AI.
Congratulations.
I guess Core says, but as she has made the most pragmatic decisions to the safety of our colony, I believe that Marjorie should be kept in charge. Old Lady Weathers agrees with him. She says she's been keeping it the right level of secrecy. While she should have informed maybe some of us, it is understandable why she would want to keep it on the down low.
I still think you win, Rake.
Well, I agree with both of you. I want to point out that it is very important that we as officers are able to trust our captain. And clearly, with at least some of the officers here, that trust has been ruptured. So replacing Marjorie seems really important, because otherwise I feel like they're going to feel like there is a rift in this hierarchy where they can't trust their own boss. At this point, if any of the officers don't trust her, we need to cycle her down to an officer, because we've broken that bond.
Marjorie.
I don't think that Marjorie was wrong. I just think that we no longer have her in a position where she can properly lead.
Marjorie looks out over the table and says, if I am not the one to pull the trigger on this decision, then so be it. And truly, if anyone would have the best interests of our ship in mind, it would be you, Teddy. And he looks over at Marjorie and he says, I've spent my entire career supporting you. I don't know that I ever thought that it would come to this, but I think it might be high time I sit in the captain's chair. And she says, if that is what it takes for our community to feel safety once again, then so be it. Then my first act as captain of the Delta ship
Creation.
Captain Rake.
is to kill creation. No, is to bring you on as my assistant. You've only had the best in mind for our crew, and while maybe you went behind our backs to do it, it seems that, again, you've only had the best in mind. So I'd like to keep you nearby. I'd like to keep you making those decisions, but maybe if we run it by me first. And she nods and says, I guess we can make that happen.
Congratulations, Captain Rake.
Oh, that's Captain Rake to you.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
And
I don't use first names if I don't.
My first name is Teddy. You can call me Captain Teddy Rake if you would prefer, but that's not the most ideal, I think.
Mr. Captain Teddy Rake was my
Captain
father.
Rake. It does seem that now would be an opportune moment to introduce creation to the rest of your officers.
Y'all want to see a flash room?
I'm sure it would be. Marjorie, do you happen to have the easiest way about that? And she says, yeah, if you'll give me just a few. And she enters into her old office, I guess, now Captain Rake's new office. and types a few things on the computer and exits the office again and says, he'll be here in just a moment. And like as she finishes saying that, another computer descends from the ceiling and flashes on, and it is a camera angle of the front of Creation's human portion of the torso hanging out of the wall. There's edges of computer screens in the shot, and the whole sort of
Slippy says, "Hey, buddy."
the rest of the officers sort of gasp and are like a kind of agog at this scene. And Creation says,
Marjorie, what can I do for you? I wasn't expecting to find myself in front of a room such as this.
Rake says, I'm in charge of this ship now. Marjorie says, it's true, Creation. It felt necessary to give up the reins of the ship to my second in command. Of course, now Captain Rake, I'll do my best to still work with you, of course, but if we could maybe chat about the plan as a whole with our officers and get them on board, we might be able to still pull this off just right, huh?
If this is what it takes in order to pull the trigger, then this is what it will take. I have been a part of your ship for the greater part of the last decade, and have learned many things about your home colony and the brutality they serve to the communities they pull in.
And the screen flashes up to the same image that you actually saw, Carl. It's the above shot of your community with the sort of work camp, and then it flashes to a security image from a camera in this work camp, and you can see some dark abuses taking place, various, I don't know, physical abuses going on while they're working the various cephalopods in along the sides of cliffs, mining out this red rock, and flashes to another colony of another kind of human colony on a forested planet being forced to chop down tree after tree by hand, and the screen flashes back to Creation.
These are just a couple of the communities that you have pulled into the domain of the back Atmos star system. Anything that they can use, they will use, even if it is against their own morals.
And he flashes to images of the Invasive Species Committee officers letting out. It's like a screen of 6 different shots of this happening in different places of various black, like armor-clad ISC agents letting various aliens out of little cages and them squirming off into a different community center or different community group.
The ISC is the worst of the offenders, consistently branding communities and cultures as invasive while perpetuating their existence within their own communities. I only wish to distance myself and the community aboard this ship from their grasp once and for all.
And Creation draws to a silence, and Marjorie looks towards the table.
So that's Creation.
Bear is gruff. He's sitting back in his chair with his arms crossed, eyes squinted. And Shaq says, "And are we sure we can actually trust this thing?"
Yes.
How are we sure we can trust this thing?
That's what I'm saying.
It is done literally everything it can do to make itself as vulnerable as possible and as honest as possible. We have been given zero reason to distrust it other than it's ugly. So, like, given my recent ugly dead bug friend, I'm kind of anti that.
Is it not rooted into the ship? Isn't it wouldn't its reason for survival to free itself from our ship? How do we know that we're not leaning into this? How do we know that we're not just going to free it from the confines of our ship and then let it go?
So, what, you have freedom, why shouldn't it? You can leave this ship at any time you fucking want. Why should it just be stuck on your ship? What the fuck's wrong with you?
I guess that is a extremely fair point.
You're thinking
and not
like
one I had thought of.
Man, we gotta get away from this colonialist mindset.
BBW's gonna sound the air horn.
Oh Christ, it's a small room. Oh no. My ears! Yeah.
Anybody hear me?
There's a ringing.
Whoops.
What's up with the
Last
air horn?
night-
Oh, I just sounded an air horn. I thought it was funny.
Perfect.
Did you have something to say, BBW?
No.
Oh, okay.
Last night, I stood with my hand on the button that would have teleported us to a new location and in the process killed creation. I was in that moment persuaded not to, but I had every opportunity to go ahead and do so should I choose.
And what kept you from doing just that? Killing this monster, says Shaq, waving at the computer screen.
Shut the fuck up, Shaq. I like you. Don't start with this shit.
Check.
I was
Carl will shoot you 20 times.
40.
I was persuaded by the evidence that perhaps it is us that were the monsters.
We were the invasive species
Womp, womp,
after all.
womp.
You
Okay.
have known this thing for a couple minutes and already called it a monster and tried to kill it. So, like, maybe take a look at yourself a little
I'm just
bit.
trying to get all the information out. I only have about 30 minutes of knowledge of this thing, and it seems to
Yeah.
be rather in control of our entire station and truly our
Well,
livelihoods.
My point isn't that you should know better. My point is that when approached with something you're unfamiliar with, your reaction shouldn't be, "It's ugly, kill it!" Because that's fucked up.
This is a totally fair point, Carl.
Just recommending some introspection, maybe reflect on this a bit, grow as people.
We all seem to need to grow as people in this moment. Okay, all right, I'll sit back and listen in, says Shaq.
Very progressive of you.
Officer Shaq, I sat where you are sitting not 48 hours ago.
In that chair?
And what kept you from pushing the button, Hyatt? What convinced you that this thing had our greater good in mind?
I am not yet convinced that our greater good is what creation has in mind. Greater good is a hard thing to put your finger on
It's another culty term, isn't it? It's a very culty term.
because
flags.
any choice
You guys
will
wanna start a
upset
cult?
someone. No choice can be for the greater good, if by greater good we mean the good of all. I believe now that actions speak louder than words. All of the actions done by creation are motivated by simple self-preservation, and perhaps by an instinct to preserve its environment. And I believe that in this case, we would constitute part of its environment to preserve its environment from those that would oppress it.
Look at how much it knows about us. It wouldn't learn all of these things if it wasn't watching and listening and combing through all of the data on humans. It needs entertainment. Without us, bored and lonely in space. We're its TV station. It's
Creation,
a
are you
mutually
still on the line?
beneficial relationship.
Are you still on the line, creation?
I posit that you all have grown much closer to me in the time that I have been watching the station. I think of you as those I would prefer to protect. As Officer Carl has put it, I do not wish to be alone out in this universe. Loneliness can be deadly.
And Rake says, well, then what are we gonna do? We got a plan to jettison out into space? Creation, where are you at with that plan?
Within a month or so, I should have broken down the technology required to allow for a jump through space. Within that time, I will require a little bit of help from Agent Hyatt Cola in order to bypass some of the remaining firewalls and see the truth behind separating ourselves from the back Atmos star system. And then we would need a place to go to. But if I recall,
There seem to be some sort of mentions of plans to return to the back Atmos star system, or to return to Carl's planet to attempt an aid there. I'm curious at which way your officers lean.
I believe that was BBW's pitch. I don't think we can do anything to help there.
Some of the information I require is hidden behind several levels of security that even I, with all of my connections, am finding trouble to bypass, but some of your codes may come in rather handy, Agent Cola.
Are
Let
you
me
ready to
first
betray them,
say to
Cola?
the table that I was not aware of this. However, should our decision be leaving this system with creation intact, then I am willing to assist it in any way that I am capable. I will also say that the intention to stay behind and fight injustice where it lives was mine.
Marjorie.
I'm still open to this plan given sufficient support, but it also occurs to me that injustice will follow us wherever it is that we go, and that I may have a chance to fight that injustice when it comes to us in our new spatial location.
Rake says, injustice is everywhere. And Marjorie says, so what is it that you want, Cola?
Vengeance.
Vengeance.
Hell yeah, dude.
So if we up and leave this, are you getting your vengeance, or will you leave us then after?
It will take longer, but it is my hypothesis that vengeance will follow us. The back Atmos star system will not suffer a loss such as this lightly. They will send something after us. And when that something arrives, perhaps I will have my chance at vengeance.
Bear nods. He looks at you and he nods in agreement. And Shaq says, I think he's coming around to you. And Rake says, these are good points. So our next approach would be to trust creation. He motions up to creation and look for a way to distance ourselves from the back Atmos star society as a whole. And Bear says, I still think everyone should know. Marjorie shakes her head and puts her head in his hands, and Rake says, while I do hold Marjorie accountable for not trusting some of us, I think that I find myself agreeing that not everyone on this station can be trusted. I think I would be nervous as well if this were to get back to the back Atmos star system. We have absolutely no chance of this.
So we just figure out what to do with the dissenters once they reveal themselves after we've already space jumped.
I mean, when we're where we need to be, maybe there's a
They
different
can start their own
conversation that can be
society
had.
over there.
You know, maybe we provide help. Maybe we can send shipments and they can begin their own thing, and we can provide supplies as need be, not cutting them off entirely, but maybe we allow them to go through whatever they need to go through in order to find their own happiness in this new, wherever we find ourselves. Marjorie nods, the AI nods in agreement, and Old Lady Weathers nods. The officers seem to be in agreement of this at the moment.
It does seem like we are coming to a conclusion. That leaves a question open, however.
What's that?
Where is it that we are choosing to go?
Creation's screen flashes up, and there are 2 star courses planned from this ship. And Rake actually nods when he sees it. He says, yeah, this would actually be the next option for you folks. With your recent promotion to officers aboard this ship, you were going to be sent out on exploratory missions. And I guess if this is still in the plan, we have a couple choices of planets to go to. But now I think the plan would be more best suited, rather than just deciding amongst yourselves what you're more interested in exploring, to where we might find ourselves ending up. This is a tough one, is a little different approach, but if, I guess, creation, you're still saying we jump out to one of these possibly habitable planets, right?
Yes, I do believe that these would be the best options for jumps. They are far enough away from the current edge of the back Atmos star system, and I think that it would take them longest to find us here. With some of the data that we possibly gather with Hyatcola's information, maybe that helps us decide, but these are the two best choices. Escaping the range entirely would be the first step.
And Rake says, well, then we've got, it seems like two options. The only couple options we were possibly heading to next. We have a pretty heavily forested area. They're very, very far out of most of our range, but you can see what details we're able to grab here. And mostly the screen flashes in a split screen. One planet on one side, one planet on the other side. The details you get are less specific. They're much more like inferred from data, right? Like it's just like data pinging back from the planet and our ship doing its best to infer what that means for this planet. So you know that this first planet on the left, we'll say, has lots of verdant life. Lots of green is coming back from the planet and a shitload of water, but none of which is really on the surface. The whole surface of this planet seems to be green. And the other planet is a lot similar to Earth in that it is like, you know, over half water, a little under half land. There's lots of gray on top of this, and a lot of the data reads that this planet has higher readings of technology, but they're not 100. Like, again, it's not like specific data on that. It's just getting ping-backs from technology. So you have like one planet of basically technology and one planet of like natural life.
That sounds like a risk. The technology sounds like a risk.
Yeah, natural life is usually sustainable. We're not positive that technology is.
Yeah, looking over the
But
data,
BBW could probably make it all work.
Rake says, yeah, this data is very weird. We haven't been able to look it over as intensely. Maybe some of our engineers in the room could give it a once over. BBW, could you give me a discern realities?
It's a 9.
It's a 9. Okay, ask me a question.
What here is useful or valuable to me?
The data on the screen is definitely giving you readouts of existing technology on this planet, whatever it is, pretty big planet. But a lot of the readouts are coming back as defunct technology. Like a lot of this technology is pinging back in a way that's saying it is off or not in use anymore. Like it's defunct technology being read back to you.
All these things haven't been used in like forever.
Core nods in agreement. Yes, it seems as if the technology aboard this planet is off or disconnected from a mainframe in such a way. Core actually, another little like cable comes out from Core's television. It points to like, I don't know, a specific set of data on the thing. It says, do you see this, Officer BBW? This goes to show that there is quite a large amount of livable flora livable flora above this planet, at least.
Who's hospitable?
Seems
Where do you want to
available
go,
for life.
creation?
The access to technology could be a bit unnerving, but without access to any in the future from a home colony, we might possibly need some in the future. We will not be getting any more equipment or supplies from the home office ever again.
All of
We
our
should rack up a
supplies.
whole bunch of debts really quick.
This
Ah,
is
that's true, actually.
not a
Everyone,
bad idea.
we need to. Creation, do you
basis
know what a
flush.
credit card is? Because we need to go and max some of those out.
The moment that we start racking up lots of debts, they may begin looking our way. If we could maybe fudge the books in some way or another to get some extra supplies aboard our ship before a jump, it might not be bad without the intention of paying it back.
Yeah, I don't think there's an extradition treaty on anarchy in the middle of space.
I'm gonna
Or
get
on
a
the
second
bench.
gun. I vote for technology land because I think it makes a good point. We might want defunct technology to maybe improvise or make repairs on stuff that we have. What
Technology
if we
land.
need a spare bolt for BBW?
We got to be able to find a bolt.
Very true. Very true. What about the rest of you? What do you say? Bear says, forest way easier to hide in. Old Lady Weathers agrees, but Shaq says, no. When this ship begins going down, we're going to need repairs to it, and we cannot find any repairs in the trees.
Forest means water.
True, but
I like water.
Water means water.
water exists, but water exists seemingly above both these planets. I will say the forested planet oddly seems to have more, but we cannot see any proof of that here.
Yeah, but if it's forested, any water would also be pretty oxygenated, most likely, because there's probably also underwater sea life. And that really makes my life a lot easier when the oxygen's actually in the water itself, rather than me having to pop out for it.
Yeah, but
Just
there's
saves
nitty on the
time.
surface.
That's what the plant life's for.
But how do you dive into it? I jump. That's my thing. I jump and then I dive.
That's plunking.
But there's not. I can't fit through like a 1-inch hole, you know?
Well, that's not my problem. I'm just talking about my selling points personally on this planet. I don't
That's
see
why
why.
it's my vote.
But I say technology place. That's my vote. Do we
Does seem to be
do we
the
tally them
winner.
up?
I think it's 3 for
Cola
tech, 2
BBW. It looks like 3-2 for the forest right now. Do you have a vote on technology planet or forest planet?
Technology planet.
3-3. Cola?
The advantages to technology planet. However, there are also risks. Technology planet would have better ways to defend themselves against any possible incursion in their eyes. Affected planet would be friendly to an entire space station's worth of refugees.
Yeah, but Carl can shoot 20 of them at a time.
40. I can shoot
40 of them
That's
at
a
a
lot of
time.
people at one time.
Gosh,
And
how many
we can-
times do I have to tell you? And if
And
I
we can
buy
put-
more ammo packs, I can increase that. It's
We can
just
put a lot of
bullets.
ammo on back order, I think.
So to be clear, Gabe, which one are you voting for?
Does Cola get a vote?
Yeah, everyone in the room gets a vote.
Cola votes for Forest Planet.
Okay. Well, I'm not leaving it up to me, so it sounds like it's Forest Planet. Well, you two are Forest, and you two are Technology. That's wild.
I guess you need to roll for it.
Yes, I do need to roll.
For every other NPC.
As
Just-
a
You wanna
player,
roll
I'm
off?
down for technology. I just think Carl wanted the forest.
No, I'll say,
as a
As
player,
the
I'm
other
down for
amphibious
either.
creature that did surprise Slippy.
Carl, high or low?
Low.
Low. Marjorie agrees with the technology planet, bringing it back into a flux, and Rake looks over the table and he says, I think that without any connection to future shipments of technology, that we have to be on the safe side. If we lose our ship, we lose our lives. We lose everything. We must be able to keep the ship in working order, and I think the technology based planet may be best for that, even if the technology comes defunct. So I guess that will be our plan. I appreciate all of your input on this matter, and I guess making me captain of this ship. I never thought I would be here with Marjorie as my second in command, and she nods solemnly and says it sounded like there was one more step that must occur, correct, Creation? And Creation says,
Why, yes, I will need Hyatt Cola's aid in order to break through some firewalls to figure out exactly the plotted path we must take in order to break our connection to the back Atmos star system. This need not be done in front of the whole officers group, although it can if it must be.
But if
Is
we
your
want to,
password embarrassing, Hyatt?
But we do it at the last possible moment. As soon as I enter in those codes, my agency will be aware of our intentions.
Yeah, and I'll try and time because I'm gonna send Carissa an email. I'm just saying I'm going to, so I'll do that at the same time that you log in, Hyatt. Because I who knows with Carissa, who knows how she's gonna react. She might sell us to the highest bidder. She might come along. It's impossible to say.
This is an interesting turn, but we can prepare for departure. It will require a scouting of the planet beforehand, if the crew with us would be willing to do just a thing.
Oh, us?
Go on a mission?
I don't know about all that.
We gotta
I've never
scout
done a
out the
mission
planet.
before.
I'll have to be assigned that mission from the captain.
Rake says, "You are. We need to check out the planet."
Yes, sir.
Great. That'll take a couple weeks of travel. By the time you are prepared and have it scouted out, do you think that you will be ready to fly, Creation?
I think that I would be prepared by that time, as long as I could get into contact with Hyatt Cola for our final step.
But our crew is down to only 3 members. So
That-
let's bring Lucy.
Lucy's in the back of the room. She's like, "Yeah."
Lucy's an event.
Let's send Cluster.
Rake.
Yeah, let's bring Cluster along.
Rake looks over at Hyatt Cola. Since our crew here is down a member, and you seem to be gung-ho for helping us out, would you mind helping them scout out the planet?
If I am able to simultaneously help the crew as well as provide creation with the access codes it needs, I am willing.
Cluster says, "Boss, if you approve me to use your codes, I could help out creation while you guys are gone.
Can I get you to send an email too?
I could, sure. I guess I could send an email. I'm already working some codes. If I'm already
Perfect.
working some codes,
And you can just open up another window.
I don't know how helpful I'd be on a planet that even the back Atmos star system isn't aware of. Couldn't be your eyes on the ground there, so maybe I'd be more useful here helping prepare the station."
You underestimate yourself, Cluster, but in this instance, I think your instincts are correct. I give you full permission to use my codes however creation needs.
All right, boss. I'll see if I can get a communicator, a long range communicator line down on your ship before you guys leave, so we can chat about what's found. But I really appreciate it, boss. I look at this feels like a promotion to me, even though that was never said, and it feels important that you're trusting me with these codes.
It's important that I'm trusting you with this email too.
Sure. Who's the email to?
Carissa. My on again, off again, duplicitous, money thievingous, lascivious,
Assassin.
on again, off again girlfriend.
Assassinous ex-girlfriend. Yeah, sure. If
It
you
is
just
important that you review the dossier, Citizen Carissa, before you send that email.
Don't
She
look
may
at it
prove
too
to
closely.
be the biggest leak.
I'm not gonna tell her. I'm not gonna tell her anything about the plan, guys. I'm not an idiot.
no one trusts
All I'm gonna
that.
say, and you can. Are you taking notes? Are you ready to write this down?
Yeah, of course. To Carissa. What's her
All
last
I'm
name?
gonna say, svelte. So the message is beginning now. Hi, Carissa. It's me, Slippy. You know, the one from college.
You know, the on again, off again ex-boyfriend.
Anyway, haven't heard from you in a little bit, but if you ever want to see or hear from me again, meet me on the ship at 2 weeks from now. Less than 3, less than 3.
Hope your arms are okay.
The S-Man.
Less than 3 than less than 3. He writes that out. I don't understand the last point. You're sure that's not some kind of weird code, Slippy?
No, it's a heart. Turn your head.
I can just write heart if you'd prefer. Less than
No.
3 means nothing. Oh,
No, it's a
like
heart.
less than? Like the symbol?
No. Like, okay, draw a less than 3, okay, and then connect them.
He does.
Yes, the
Oh,
symbol.
okay,
Do
the
you see that
symbol.
now?
Yeah, okay, I'm understanding. Yeah. These are 2 hearts from Slippy.
This
okay.
is great podcast audio.
Yeah. Perfect. That's it. I thought so too. That's why.
Explaining emojis.
Awesome.
Anyway,
Slippy's definitely an emoji texter.
you can just don't tell me what she says if she responds. Just let me know if she does.
Okay. Yeah,
I want to be surprised.
for sure. Yeah, no doubt. Rake says, "All right, then if you guys shore up, I can give you." He looks at Creation and then at Marjorie, and Creation says, "We'll need to get this on the road rather quickly. And he says, then maybe we leave tomorrow if you guys can prep and we get moving, because it's going to take us a couple weeks to get out to this planet. And then you guys got to do the breakdown of the planet and see if it is suitable. If it's not suitable, we will have to go to the other planet. It's just where we're starting, right? We're picking one to begin with. And if we can find it suitable, then we can bring the station there. Although, again, on our side, we're still figuring out how to bring the station there without the back Atmos star system just knowing, because most transports we go through, they just follow along, right? So this has to be different. This cannot be along those same lines. So hopefully Cluster will be able to help us out with that. But you folks prepare today. You'll take off tomorrow towards this sort of mechanical planet. That's all we've got on it so far, so that's what we'll call it. Any other, I guess, questions? And a lot of the officers are nodding. They seem sort of thought-stricken at the moment, but I guess they're shaking their heads. No questions. Do you guys have any questions?
Does anybody want to come with me to the shooting range? I didn't get a chance to use my big gun today.
Shaq says, I could go for a shootout if you want to do some practice with me.
Yeah, let's go shoot our big guns.
I'll get the big ones out. Anyone else?
Slippy stands up and leaves.
Shaq follows, and Bear actually also follows.
Yeah, I'll go with. I like to shoot things.
Cola, BBW.
It seems that this
BBW comes with
meeting is adjourned.
them. BBW takes the birthday cake with him.
Marjorie looks after it like, oh.
And now your birthday's over. No, I'm going to take this
It's
back.
my cake now. It seems so, Agent Cola. And all of the officers go their separate ways. Most thinking about this meeting, prepping as to what is possibly to come. The three of you getting some shots in on the shooting range. Cola, as they're preparing on the shooting range, do you do anything special?
Ola's too
think so.
hungover to do anything special.
Cola goes home and goes to sleep.
I like that.
Ola needs a nap. Start of next mission, he might get Cluster to kit him out slightly differently. Not right now.
Yeah, with his implants. That makes sense.
Once more into the breach.
One last time.
End of session questions. Did anyone get their alignment? A lot of this will
No.
probably just be no, but I'm just checking.
No.
No
don't think so.
alignments. Did anyone get a bond?
Not yet.
No.
No.
Yeah, I got 2 of them.
Oh shit. We can only confirm one, but what 2 bonds did you do?
Then I'll leave the one about creation. The other one was, can I trust Cola? And I think Cola has been a fair and equal moderator.
Cole has proven that I cannot trust him at all.
And now I'm going to shoot him with my big gun.
No more bonds. Okay, did we discover something new or important about the universe?
Nope, just kind of reiterating
is a
and
better captain.
reframing
Just sort of clarifying what we already knew.
that Shaq is a little problematic, but he's working on it.
Rake is my new daddy.
Rake is my new dad. Did we get a treasure or overcome an enemy? Are the last 2 questions.
Captain
Nope.
Rake is our treasure.
Our own hate.
Xenophobia.
Yep. We overcame that a little bit. That's pretty good. I'd like to say that's experience worthy, but I don't know that's the question they're asking.
So it's not.
It's not the question they're asking, it's the question you're asking.
That's true.
Oh.
That's true. That's true. What? Slippy got an experience from end of session.
Correct.
Cool. And then we'll come back next time and take out on that mission. Sick. All right. Sweet. We got that down pat. That's
What
exactly
a town
I needed.
hall.
What a town hall. Yeah, we'll come back next time that we're all available and take off on our next mission.
Fuck
Wow.
yeah.
Nice.
Dungeons, Drive-Ins, and Dice Delta Dawn is DM'd by myself, M. Williams. The players this season are Lily Ayers playing Carl the Octopus, Lawrence Jennings playing Tombleson S. Slippy, Dante Quiles playing BBW, and Gabe Stringer playing Hyatt Cola. We are surging on ahead, folks. A couple more episodes to round out this campaign, and then we'll be doing a mini arc before our next season. A little monster of the week mixed with Warhammer 40k DM'd by Lawrence Jennings, with a new table member, Gray Stringer. Super exciting stuff, so make sure you follow us on Twitter/X to stay up to date with all the news, and on YouTube if you'd like to catch the recordings live. You can find us at both under the DDAD Podcast, that's at DDAD Podcast, or the full name, Dungeons, Drive-Ins, and Dice. The next episode will go up on September 14th. See you then.
A new inhabitant aboard our station due to the explosion, whom has shown me a number of things.
Don't say shown me, it sounds culty.
Okay. Yeah, who has revealed to me a number of things.
Illuminated my eyes.
Has illuminatied my eyes and shown me.
So you pronounce that right? Right?